Wadsworth. It's great to be back here for another great episode of the Tommy Maroon Sports Show right here on WCTV. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, as always, in such a small amount of time. And first things first, Cleveland Cavaliers. That's right, the Indians season is over. 80-82. We already went through that and how much of a disappointment it was. But you know what is not looking like a disappointment? Hopefully not a disappointment. The Cavaliers. Some well-known returning players include guys like Colin Sexton, Darius Garland, Jarrett Allen, Kevin Love. Of course, those are some big guys to look out for. And here's a guy to look out for. Evan Mobley, right there on your screen. He was selected with our third pick in 2021 NBA draft from USC. We also added Ricky Rubio. Traded away Larry Nance Jr. for Lauri Markkanen and Denzel Valentine. And we also had Taco Fall as well. So quite an interesting and new look here for the Cavaliers. Hopefully things end up well. So season preview. Of course, the season hasn't started yet. It will start rather October 22nd, October 20th. Against Memphis. October 22nd is our first home game. It will be a regular 82-game regular season, I believe, like in years past. And this will not be a shortened season. No Mickey Mouse rings. No nothing like that. Great to see that the NBA is going to have things back to normal. And of course, I mentioned our first game and our, first home game. In late October, we have a 5-game road stand with 4 of those teams being in the West Coast, the last one being Charlotte. But as you can tell, I think we play Denver, both Los Angeles teams, which means LeBron and the Lakers, and the defending champion Phoenix Suns. And so continuing, November 24th, speaking of Suns, that's when we play the Suns. But it'll be at the Rock instead. And our first game against the defending champion Milwaukee Bucks, that's going to be December 6th. We play Trae Young and the Hawks on New Year's Eve, actually, at home. They said New Year's Day for some reason on my script. But nope, it's New Year's Eve. Trae Young and those Hawks very good at basketball. And then on Martin Luther King Day, we get to play those tough Brooklyn Nets yet again. Nets may be shorthanded without Kyrie Irving, who does not want the vaccine for some reason and will not be allowed to play because of it. I mean, if I were him, I'd probably get it because I definitely want to play the sport that I know and love, but, oh well, his preference. But then, of course, the Nets are a very rough team. You know that. But you know what's not going to be rough? The All-Star Weekend. It's coming right here in beautiful Cleveland, Ohio at the Rock, just 3 years after it was the MLB All-Star Game here in Cleveland. It's going to be here in February. I can't wait for it. And then LeBron and the Lakers on behalf of Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook, of course, recently being added to that big team of the Lakers. Of course, that's going to be March 21st. The last road game against Brooklyn last road game of the season is at the Barclays Center against Brooklyn on April 8th. The last game of the year is April 10th. Going to be a Sunday. Going to be against those Milwaukee Bucks. Of course, Giannis and co. Very good. But hopefully JB has some things cooking for the Cavaliers. Of course, we have a lot of youth on the team, but the postseason definitely seems to be far away. We'll be lucky to get in the postseason. Either way, it should be a fun season. Well, I didn't get to write down my predictions this year, but I'm thinking it's going to be somewhere along the line of Lakers Nets, in my opinion. No, not Nets. Maybe Lakers Bucks, perhaps. I feel like without Kyrie, I feel like that's going to really take a toll on the Nets. Nets Bucks might be the Eastern Conference Finals once again, in my opinion. Philadelphia, obviously struggling with shooting. Of course, with guys like Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, not the best shooters in the world, but of course, good crashing the net. They'll be in it as well. Of course, the Clippers are going to be in it as well with Kawhi. And, of course, you have Denver with reigning MVP Nikola Jokic. And then Dallas with their star player Luka Doncic. And it's just going to be a good season. Heck, even Memphis with that's right, Ja Morant. It's going to be a great NBA season. Right now, I'm going to say Lakers beat Bucks. I don't know why. I feel like LeBron and Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis might be the best big three, second best big three he's ever had, because LeBron, Kyrie, and Kevin Love were the best big three of all time. I am sorry. That's how it is. Not LeBron, Wade, and Bosh. Not LeBron, Davis, and Westbrook, but rather LeBron, Kevin, and Kyrie. Of course, hard to believe that only Kevin Love is still on that team. Hard to believe how much we have fallen ever since those days, and how the ride kind of looks empty now, sadly, because, well, Cavs don't win that much anymore. Hopefully that'll change this year. And let's go to NASCAR, where we had the Bank of America Roval 400. That's right. It's not a road course. It's not an oval. It's a roval, as they say it. Kyle Larson won it. He's going to the round of 8. He wins for the third time on a road course this season. Kevin Harvick and Chase Elliott's rivalry really heated up throughout most of the race. Chase Elliott right there on your screen. He won stage 1. Kyle Busch won stage 2. And Tyler Reddick finished in second place. Chris Buescher in third place. And Ryan Newman lost a tire on lap 20. Buescher spun out Chase Briscoe on lap 34. And then on lap 55, Kevin Harvick and Chase Elliott made contact and collided with each other. And then on lap 87, there's Chase Elliott losing his bumper cover right there on the back. Obviously not exactly what he wanted. And Corey LaJoie and Joey Hand hit the wall on the 93rd lap. And then Elliott, watch this, Kevin Harvick got wrecked 6 laps later while trying to defend it against him. That was on lap number 99. It was insane to see. A crazy race out there. Harvick, of course, got into a wreck trying to defend Elliott, as previously mentioned. Definitely crazy, in my opinion, that rivalry. It was the big one, and it overshadowed Kyle Larson's win, in my opinion. And Chase Elliott, after the race, wished Kevin Harvick a merry offseason and happy holidays. Happy Christmas, merry offseason and happy Christmas, upon learning that Kevin Harvick was not going to be in the playoffs. There's William Byron running off target right there with the 19 laps to go. William Byron driving the famed 24 car. When he was able to get back in it. Time to look at the round of 8. Well, Kevin Harvick, as previously mentioned, is out. And now it's time for the round of 8. Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Mark Truex Jr., and Ryan Blaney hold the top 4 spots. Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, and Brad Keselowski are the bottom 4 spots in the playoffs. There's the last lap. Kyle Larson leading over Tyler Reddick and Chris Buescher and Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Matt DiBenedetto. How about Christopher Bell finishing in 8th place and Alex Bowman in 10th place? But yes, the season continues in Texas with the Auto Trader Echo Park Automotive 500. After that, the season goes to Kansas and Martinsville. And then last but most certainly not least, the short track of Phoenix. Should be a good one right there. It's hard to believe that the NASCAR season's almost over. Who would have thunk it? Oh my goodness. But man, oh man, in my opinion, I think it's really going to come down to Larson and Hamlin. I'm picking Kyle Larson to win it all. I'm picking him to win at Phoenix, and not just win at Phoenix, but win at least one more race before that, unless something crazy happens. So that's what's been going on in the world of NASCAR. Now it's time for my favorite part of the show, Tommy's Picks, which is about, well, you guessed it, my picks. First things first, it's going to be high school football. On our homecoming night, before we all got together and literally bounced up and down at homecoming, and when I mean bounced up and down at homecoming, I am not exaggerating. That is literally what happened during the dance. Well, I guess you could call it a, quote, dance. We danced all over Cuyahoga Falls the night before. 62-0, 56 points in the first half. The mercy clock was obviously shown. Cuyahoga Falls had no mercy at all. Stowe is able to rebound from a tough loss to Wadsworth with a 27-13 win. Archbishop Hoban trounces St. V. St. M 42-7. Massillon, Washington takes down Canisius in New York 23-13. How about this? Barberton takes down Aurora. Oh no, that's exactly not what you wanted to hear. Because now that means our hopes and dreams of winning the American Conference are gone. Literally, this is what went on in every Hornets' head when they heard Aurora lost. And I don't blame them. I feel like that as well because, of course, I really thought Aurora was going to win. Here's what needs to happen in order for us to have a fair share at the American Conference. What we needed was, of course, us to win against Cuyahoga Falls, which happened, and Aurora to beat Barberton because Barberton beat Highland. But that didn't happen. Barberton beat Aurora, and now Barberton controls their own destiny in the American Conference. They have Cuyahoga Falls this week. Next week, they have Talmadge. Those should be two easy wins for the Magics, and they should win the American Conference for the first time since 2018, which, of course, Highland also gave Barberton a run for their money that year as well, but lost a heartbreaker at Sharkey. Medina beat Brunswick in a Medina County rivalry, 35-14. And Solon, how about Solon with an upset over Mentor, 24-21. And Norton blanks Springfield, 56-0. And Brea Mid-Park went down 49-14 against the Avon Eagles. Canfield Cardinals took down Youngstown East 35-16. And one of the best rivalries in all of high school football, Revere Copley. Revere was able to squeak out a win against the Indians 21-20. Austintown Fitch over in Austintown Fitch, I believe, was able to beat Wadsworth 38-28. And Hudson shut out No Row 31-0. Brecksville Broadview Heights, who's been struggling all season long, finally picks up a big win, 45-7 over Twinsburg Tigers. And then you have the Avon Lake Shoremen beating the Elyria Pioneers 16-14. And an overtime game all the way in Cincinnati. Archbishop Moore took down St. Ives 29-28 in overtime. Then you have college football. What else other than college football? Where Arizona State beat Stanford 28-10. And Oklahoma beat Texas 55-48 in a crazy Red River shootout. Not a Red River showdown, but a Red River shootout. Speaking of shootouts, the Ole Miss Rebels took down the Arkansas Razorbacks 52-51. And Florida was able to take down Vandy 42-0. Of course, that wasn't a shocker, in my opinion, because, of course, Vanderbilt, of course, very good. And, of course, Akron won in football! That's right. Akron actually won a game in football. For the first time in 3 years, the Zips are going to have a multi-win season. 35-20 win over Bowling Green. And folks, I just want to say something. As a proud Akron student, let me tell you something, folks. Akron is better than Alabama. You will understand this. Akron beat Bowling Green. Bowling Green beat Minnesota. This is courtesy of Zips Barstool. Minnesota beat Purdue. Purdue beat Oregon State. Oregon State beat Hawaii. Hawaii beat Fresno State. Fresno State beat UCLA. UCLA beat LSU. LSU beat Alabama. LSU beat Mississippi State. Mississippi State beat Texas A&M. And of course, earlier last week, the mammoth of all upsets, the mother of all upsets, Texas A&M beat Alabama. Therefore, Akron is better than Alabama. It takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 teams to showcase that, but, yep, Akron is better than Alabama. I don't care if we got trounced to Auburn and got trounced to Ohio State. We would beat Auburn or Alabama. And we'd beat Auburn at home at InfoCision Stadium. Georgia, speaking of Auburn, they beat Auburn 34-10. Boise State upset BYU on the road 26-17. Florida State actually won 35-25 against North Carolina. UMass beat UConn in a game in which someone had to win 27-13. Iowa Kinnick Stadium won against Penn State 23-20, albeit a little discounted because of the fact that Penn State lost their quarterback due to injury in the game. TCU beat Texas Tech 52-31. And Notre Dame escapes Blacksburg, Virginia with a 32-29 win over those rough and tough Virginia Tech Hokies. And Texas A&M won, which we already mentioned, but Kentucky beat LSU 42-21. And then you have the NFL, which I did terrible in this week. The Rams beat the Seahawks 26-17. The Falcons almost blew another lead again. Good Lord, they were up 20-3 against the Jets, but they escaped with a nice 27-20 victory. They're now 2-3, and they've won the last 2 games in a row. The Vikings beat the loser Lions on a last-second field goal again, 19-17. And for those that forgot, a few weeks ago, the Lions lost to the Ravens 19-17 because Justin Tucker made the longest field goal in NFL history, 66 yards. Lightning strikes twice for the loser Lions, who are 0-5. It must be that God hates the Lions, as I saw online. And, of course, how do you let Davis Mills nearly beat you? I don't care if you guys don't have Tom Brady or not. The Patriots barely sneak away with a win. And then the Buccaneers beat Free Willy. They're turning into Free Willy's dead brother again, 45-17. And then the Packers and the Bungles, where nobody was making field goals. And when I mean nobody was making field goals. Everyone was missing. They were going wide left. They were going wide right. Mason Crosby couldn't make field goals for some reason. And then he finally made one in overtime. Praise the Lord. Juju Smith-Schuster is out for the year, but that didn't stop the Steelers from beating the Broncos 27-19. Die Eagles die. Well, it was more like Fly Eagles Fly as they beat the Panthers 21-18. Titans beat Sucksonville 37-19, and now Sucksonville has lost 20 in a row. 6 away from the longest losing streak since the merger, which was 1976-77 Tampa, losing 26 straight. And then the refs were being the Chargers' best friend, holding their hand in a 47-42 win, where there was a terrible pass interference call on the defense, no pass interference call on the defense for when we had the ball on Baker's last Hail Mary, and an offensive holding call that turned out, or that was really a defensive holding call. The refs loused us over again, just like what they did in January against the Chiefs. If you recall, there was no helmet-to-helmet call right there. 3 blown calls that absolutely loused us up. Obviously, the refs' fault. I'm not trying to throw them under the bus, but come on, that was our game. And they gave it literally to the Los Angeles Chargers. The Bears beat the Raiders 20-9 in what was John Gruden's ultimate last game. He got fired for things that I'm not going to say here. Cardinals are undefeated, 17-10 now, or 17-10 win. They're 5-0. Cowboys beat the Giant Losers 44-10. How about the Bills? They beat the Chiefs 38-20, and the Ravens beat the Colts 31-25. Last week recap in high school football, I went 11-5 with 12 points. I'm 87-37 with 96 points. In college football, I went 9-5 with 10 points. I'm now 61-22 with almost 70 points. In the NFL, I had a terrible 8-8 record. This unpredictable season has me 50-30 with 55 points. Now time for Tommy's picks for this week. High school football, Highland against Aurora. Folks, I'll be honest with you. Every week I feel like, oh, this is going to be our game. This is going to be our game. This is going to be our game. This week, I'm really nervous. I almost picked Aurora to win this, but I really think we can upset them and pull off a monster win. That would be a huge win. If we win it, we might be able to leapfrog Avon as the number 1 seed, and being able to dodge Avon would be very nice. Being able to dodge, who do you call them? Barberton would also be nice. Hopefully we don't have to face either of them in the playoffs until the region championship. Heck, I'd rather have it if it's no one. Of course, the playoffs have extended to 16 teams. My thinking is that with the crowd noise, especially in the student section, no one packs the house quite like the Hornets, in my opinion. That's why I think is going to be the difference maker in the game between two very close and tight schools. Medina against Lorraine. Medina going to go to 9-0. Cuyahoga Falls to Barberton. Lock of the week. Magic's going to win. I'm going to have to hurry up, am I? I'm running out of time. Copley against Talmadge. Blue Devils have been having themselves a good season. I'm picking the Blue Devils. Hudson against Brunswick, picking the Blue Devils once again. Of course, both Blue Devils should win. Of course, 2 Blue Devils. Talmadge Blue Devils, Brunswick Blue Devils. Avon against the Midview Middies in a Region 5 matchup. Avon should win it. And then Olmsted Falls against Avon Lake Shoremen. I'm picking the Olmsted Falls Bulldogs. And then number 1, St. Ed's going up against Archbishop Moore. Big game this week. I'm picking St. Ed's to win. They'll go to 9-0. And St. I's going to go up against St. Xavier. I'm picking St. Ignatius to win that one, trying to rebound from what was a tough loss last week. Strongsville against Mentor. Mentor also trying to rebound from a tough loss last week. I think they'll do that. Massillon Washington playing Worcester. We'll see, as the Tigers should win it, in my opinion. Cloverleaf against Norton. I'm picking Norton. Norton's undefeated. They'll be 9-0 following this game. Still against the Tigers. I'm picking the Stowe Monroe Falls Bulldogs and the Campfield Cardinals to beat Howland. And Brecksville against Nordonia. Picking Nordonia. Padua Franciscan against Walsh. Picking Walsh. College football time. Syracuse against Clemson. Picking the Orange Men. Carrier Dome's going to be rocking that entire game. Clemson will go down. Texas against Oklahoma State. I'm picking Oklahoma State. Texas has been struggling this year. Arkansas against Auburn. Picking the Arkansas Razorbacks. UConn against Yale. Good Lord, someone's going to have to win that game. I'm picking Yale because UConn can't play football to save their lives. Miami, Ohio against Akron. I'm picking the Zips again. Let's get our 3rd win of the season. Should be our 4th win of the season. We were hanging in it against Ohio, but ultimately lost to them. Then number 1, Georgia against Kentucky at Sanford Stadium. But you know what? I really like Kentucky. I think they're going to have an upset out there. Iowa against Purdue at Kinnick. Purdue won't be ready for the loud crowd. Decked out in black and yellow. They won't be ready for the pink locker room. I'm picking Iowa to win it. Northern Illinois against Bowling Green. Picking Northern Illinois. Western Michigan against Kent State. Western Michigan. South Carolina against Vandy. Picking South Carolina. Mississippi State against Alabama. Lock of the week, Alabama. Oklahoma against TCU. Picking Oklahoma. Tennessee against Ole Miss. Picking the Rebels. Washington State against Stanford. Picking Stanford. NFL time. Well, 4 teams are off this week. The Jets, the Falcons, the 49ers, and another team I forget. I'll find it soon. Oh, well. Anyways, Eagles play the Buccaneers on Thursday night. That's going to be an easy win for the Buccaneers. By the way, the teams that are off, the other team that's off are the Saints as well. So anyways, continuing it. Sucksonville against Free Willy. Good Lord, someone has to win that game. Picking Free Willy to win it. 21 straight for Sucksonville. And Urban Meyer should be fired. But Urban Meyer can think to himself, at least I wasn't the first coach to be fired this year. For that goes to Chucky because of aforementioned stuff that I'm not going to talk about. The football team is playing the Chiefs. I don't think Taylor Heineke has what it takes. Giant losers against the Rams. Matthew Stafford and co. are going to win it. Lock of the week. Colts against Texans toast. I'm picking the Colts. Loser Lions against the Bungles. Bad luck will continue for the loser Lions. Bungles win. Rivalry. Bears, Packers. Packers should win it. One should be a good game there. They should fire Matt Nagy, by the way. Ravens against the Chargers. This should be a great game. I'm picking the Ravens. Panthers against the Vikings. I'm picking the Vikings. Panthers have been going on a skid. Whee! And then Browns against the Cardinals. Upset the week. Browns are going to win. Broncos against the Raiders. This was before all the John Gruden stuff. I've changed my pick at the last moment. I'm picking the Broncos now because they're, of course, without their coach. I'm picking the Broncos in that case. Missing Tom Brady against the Cowboys. Picking the Cowboys. TikTok loser Steelers against Geno Smith still plays. And he's with the Seahawks. I'm picking Steelers. Titans against Bills Monday night. I'm picking the Bills. Bills will be 5-1. How about that? And the Browns are going to be 4-2. That is, unless if the refs cost us another game again and make me mad again and yell at my TV again. Well, we got through everything just in the nick of time. I told you we had a lot of stuff to talk about in a little amount of time. And until then, I'm Tommy Maroon here wishing you a great rest of your day.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.